You can live as a trans man. That's absolutely fine. Do whatever you want to do. Live your best life. Absolutely support people in that. But the reason you're pregnant, the reason you're able to have a baby, to carry a baby in your womb and to give birth to your baby and feed your baby through your own body is because you are a woman. And yet the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynaecologists seems to think there are different kinds of women, cis women and trans women. What on earth is going on? Trans men.
I mean, you know, I agree with you about that horrible word cis, but I also think that the delivery room is not the place to have these theological arguments. So if you've got a woman, if you're a midwife and you're supporting her and you've got a woman and she thinks she's a man, now is not the time for the argument.
Yeah.
If she says, call me sir, call her sir, get that baby out safely. If she doesn't want to call her breasts, don't argue with her, try to get her to breastfeed. So I do see them as in a difficult position. There is this small number of people who have these strange beliefs. And the important thing is that those women and those babies are supported as much as anybody else's. And if I were a midwife, I would not get into arguments.
No, I accept that. And again, it's a traumatic time for anybody. But this is the thing. If you're a biological man and you're living as a woman, then you must know you're trans. You must know that you have done that. That's literally what your identity is. And if it's the other way around, if you are able to actually conceive and carry and give birth to a baby or feed that baby from your breast, that is because you're a biological woman. You must know that. For anyone to pretend that isn't the case, a doctor or a midwife or a nurse could honestly say, right, we understand your trans identity. That right now is completely irrelevant to the reality of the biology of the fact that you are a biological female giving birth to a baby, and that's what we're going to address. I'm calling people by their preferred names, pronouns, fine. That's of course you shouldn't be insulting people gratuitously in that situation. But when a Royal College like this, when they talk about chest feeding, if you are able to feed your baby from your breasts, you're breastfeeding. You're not chest feeding, because my husband's got a chest and he couldn't breastfeed our child, no matter how hard he tried.
What I object to is the way that they're extrapolating from this tiny number of people who have these bizarre beliefs that, OK, fine, let's not argue in the delivery room, to everybody. So if they say, look, only women can give birth, we're mammals, that's the way it works, females are the ones who give birth, there are a few people who you're just, as a midwife, professionally, you're going to have to use different language in the delivery room. But we will continue as the Royal College to talk about the reality of the situation, which is breasts, females, women, vaginas, uteruses, all those sorts of things. And we're not allowing that, marginal belief to infect our entire language and our entire approach. Yeah. That's what I think they should be doing.
That's it. And again, it's changing this in terms and using terms like cis-women. That really frustrates me. Let me talk to you also about the football. Amazing achievement from the Lionesses last night, getting into the final of the Women's Euros. Wonderful stuff. But football, there is still a big area where, the celebration of the best women can also end up being, as we've seen in a lot of sports, a lot of women fighting back, when it ends up being a celebration of mediocre men who couldn't make it in their chosen sport. A trans woman, a 6 foot tall Blair Hamilton, was chosen earlier this year to represent England University's sports squad as part of a women's team. We've seen this. We've seen an awful lot of sports bodies, saying, actually, we are not going to be allowing people who are born men, i.e. men, to compete as women, whether it's rugby, cycling, swimming. Football, though, we still have this issue and it hasn't been dealt with. What's going on there?
So my sympathy for language and so on does not extend from the delivery room to the football pitch. That is not a place where I think that we say to people, oh, you think you're a woman, that's all right then. Yeah. So FIFA had said that it had brought out draft guidelines, I think, last month, June. And those draft guidelines basically allowed any man to identify as a woman, but very shortly.
No surgery, no medication, literally
nothing.
Just, you can just say, I'm a woman, full stop.
Yeah, and remember that those surgeries and so on don't actually make men weaker. So they're irrelevant, So they brought that out and said it was for consultation, but then some other sports have moved very impressively. So swimming, as you said, swimming is excluding anyone who has gone through male puberty. And then even better, rugby is about to, it looks like, England rugby, unless they fall at the final hurdle, which I think is on Friday, they're going to just ban anybody who's male from female sport.
Yeah. Which is what we want to hear.
Said it's rethinking.
But ever there's been that fuss about, the colour of the skin, the ethnicity of the England players, I think absolutely outrageously that it's even come up. But the fact that under the current rules, it is perfectly possible for 11 biological men to rack up and play for this country as the England women's team in the Euros. That would actually be completely possible right now. That's
so they say that this isn't happening and that there aren't any examples. But the thing is, fix it before there are examples, and you have to kick somebody out of the team.
Yeah. Well, we say we've already got one in Blair Hamilton, not in the England squad, but representing universities. Again, this is the reality. If we want to celebrate the best of women, it can't be mediocre men as well.